Greetings, good people. Welcome back to another episode of Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners, where we dive deep into the minds of game changers, innovators, and storytellers, okay, who are shaping the culture and making an impact. Today, we have a powerhouse in the world of filmmaking, Jane Spencer. She's brilliant. She's a writer, director. She's the mind behind South of Hope. It's a film that's not just telling a story, but sparking real conversations about resilience, identity, and the human experience. Jane is no stranger to bold storytelling, and y'all know how much I love that word, just be bold. She's known for crafting narratives that challenge perspectives and push boundaries. Her work reflect unfiltered, deeply human lenses that society and the rest of you out there can really sink your teeth into. We're about to get into the heart of her creative process, the inspiration behind her work, and what it takes to bring such compelling stories to life. So sit back, lean in, and let's get into it. Jane, welcome to Leaders and Learners.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for that introduction. That's
I,
lovely.
I've been doing some studying on your work. I think I'm just interested in how your mind works. Like, what?
I don't
And I
know.
want to get right into South of Hope because I want you to tell me what sparked the story, South of Hope. Was there a particular moment or experience that took place? What made you say, I need to tell this story?
Oh, okay. Well, usually it's just a moment, like with most people who come up with ideas and stories. I looked into the sky what I remember specifically looking up and thinking, what would the reaction of people be, and what would my reaction be if suddenly there were two moons in the sky? Would I be like afraid, or would I be thinking there was something wrong with my eyes, or how would I react to that? And then the idea of mystery, which we all deal with every day. I mean, the bigger, I guess, questions like why are we here? What actually is the universe? Things like that. And I kind of married that with the idea of the way we tend to only think about how to survive within the machinery of living in the world, or what's been created as a way to get by in the world. And sometimes we forget about the mystery of why we're here and what we are. And so that's what I thought would be interesting. And then I came up with a narrative idea for that.
I love that. Every story, especially the ones you tell, okay, every story has a moment in the process that kind of shakes them. I think it really lets them know like they're onto something good. Was there a scene or a storyline in this film that really tested your own emotional or creative zone?
Like, you mean like when I was watching it, that I thought, okay, that's it, that I got it. I got it right there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I just want to, yeah, I mean, I think there were a couple of moments. One was the idea of what is normal, what is abnormal. And so there's a cut where she says, I need to get, after she's been through all kinds of crazy abnormal activity, she says, I need to get back to the norm. I need to be normal now. And then I have this very abrupt cut, and we go to this guy who says, now we ask ourselves, what exactly is normal? And then he falls over, and he
Mm,
keeps falling over. He's a wonderful actor. Matthew, his name, was a brilliant actor, and he unfortunately he passed away. The young actor who played that
really?
role. Yeah,
How
yeah.
long before or after it came out? What happened?
He well, it was kind of a he took his own life uh,
Mm,
after
mm.
he was young. It was during COVID. He was in LA, and he took his own life, and we were all pretty very upset about it because I thought he was super talented and he had such a bright future if he had only uh, seen it, somehow. I guess he was in a deep depression, but no one knew it. So that's what happened with Matthew.
As long
Matthew.
as you've been in this business, I'm sure you've seen some devastating endings or struggles.
Mm-hmm.
What is something else that has happened that kind of resonated with you and has been kind of a part of your career?
Oh, as far as like personal struggles
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
have, well, I mean, I lost my mother at a young age. I was only about 18, and I lost. I was very close with my mom,
Mm,
and I think that made me really question a lot of things and come out of my, let's say, teenage life
mm,
to the bigger questions of, okay, why did this happen? Why is there suffering? Why is there, all these things? And I think in every film that's kind of accompanied me, and like in Little Noises, the young deaf mute kid loses his mother, and that's a big theme in the film.
right. Yes.
And I was looking at that actually because it's also in The Ninth Cloud, where she's gone through a tragedy and she wears a coat all the time, the main character.
Hmm.
I think in this piece, um, it's not so much, it's still there. There's a sense of loss always. And I think that that kind of is within everything I do because of what happened. If you lose somebody at a young age, you don't expect to lose them. And I think that that informed a lot of my work. It,
Man.
I was sad that
Wow.
it, but yeah.
But I think
So
that you even saying that, that's something that resonates with a lot of people, you know? I
yeah.
always think that we have more in common than we do different, and I think
Hmm.
loss, especially loss at a young age, is something that we can all, most of us, have had to deal with. Maybe it wasn't a parent, maybe it was a grandparent, a pet, or somebody that was close to you and
It could be
impacted
any.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that tends to make, no matter who it was, that was close, that you were close to, or even, yeah, like even your dog that you love. Uh, I think it marks you, and it also makes you think about everything, really, um, rather than just trivial things.
I wrote total side note, but I wrote a book about being a survivor of gun violence at the age of 5. And
Oh,
I
wow.
remember one
Okay.
of the questions that I would ask people when I was trying to, when I was writing my book, doing the research, you do the research first to see how
Of
people, how things will
course.
resonate with people. And I had started asking people, what is the earliest age you remember something?
Mm,
At those ages, some people were like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, depending.
usually,
And mine
yeah.
was 4.5. And I remember when I used to tell
Wow.
people that this happened at 4, they're like, "You don't remember anything at 4." And what I found out, what it really comes down to is the most impactful thing that happens to you at the earliest point of your life,
Mhm.
right? It
Yeah.
Because it jolts you, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. So it could be an amazing trip to Disneyland. It could
Mhm.
be you lost your pet. It could be we had to move all of a sudden. But when you are impacted at a young age, I think it really just scars you in some
Yeah.
type of way, good, bad, or otherwise, like I said, but it's like a bookmark.
It's
That's
like
where
a
it begins.
bookmark. Yeah, you're right. And you can't quite, you're working on it your whole life, I think.
Right.
Why did that happen? What was that supposed to, why did that happen to me? And of course it's happened to others, but what is the deal? It was
I
just,
also feel like it actually it puts a sense of worth on you
mhm,
also, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. Like I said, if it's a vacation or something amazing, maybe
mm,
there's a higher self-worth there than if you're someone that was traumatized at a young age.
mm,
Like you said,
mm,
why did this happen to me? What does this mean? Whether it's losing someone or going through something tumultuous,
Sure.
Early memories are just very powerful, and
They shape
yeah,
you.
they
Yeah,
do.
in a way. And there's nothing that it can be that an experience like that can feed your art, feed who you are as an artist, like my God, James Baldwin or going or Langston Hughes
Yes,
or
yes,
so many people went through difficult times and came out of it uh, uh, writing great novels or poetry or Sylvia Plath. I mean,
yes,
which
yes.
I address in the film. Yeah, because actually the main character in South of Hope Street, she's kind of doing a female Hamlet. Shall I stay or shall I go?
Shall I
Kind of
go?
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, will I stay or like what is it, the Clash? But she's always like, maybe I should go because I don't see the sense in all of this.
I
And
don't.
in her this weird dystopia, this weird society
Yeah.
that she's in. And I think we can all relate to that right now. I think we're in a real dystopic society right now. So
Like, should I
little did
stay
I
or should
know.
I go?
Yeah, little did I know. I'll stay around just to see what happens. I mean,
Right. Because now we're just curious, like, how does
now,
this story end, by the way? You know?
right? Yeah. What is? I really need to see what's going to happen next. Of
Is
course,
there a hero that shows up and saves the day? Like, what's going to happen?
I don't know. Maybe there is. We all have our hope, right?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's gotten
Um,
pretty strange. Yeah,
strange fruit. Yes, definitely.
yeah.
So filmmaking, okay, is no joke. It is definitely a grind. I understand that. But what was your biggest challenge in getting South of Hope from script to screen, and how did you push through that?
I think with filmmaking, you kind of have to have tunnel vision. I mean, you really do to get an independent film done. Every day I would get up and do one thing to make progress towards my goal, which was to get this thing done. Um, because you write it, it's just a blueprint for what you want to do visually. And I think the hardest, of course, and everybody will say this, it's finding the finance for independent film and putting that together, getting the right group of people to make the film together as good producers, and then seeing if you can attract actors who like the story and want to do it. And I was very lucky with that. Um, I met some wonderful producers and who led me to a financier who basically pretty much financed the whole film,
Mm,
which never happened to me before. That's with South of Hope Street, because before it was always it was companies or I don't know, pre-sales or different ways of kind of patchworking it together. And this investor just wanted to take a chance and make a movie. And I did tell him, this is independent film. I can't guarantee that it'll be fast. Hopefully that you get your money back. But
ROI, yeah.
yeah, but he was like cool and he could afford to do it. So, and that never happens, by the way. This is very unusual. And so I was very lucky. And I almost think it had a lot to do with believing I could get the thing. I believed I could get it made, and I, of course, I worked with others to find the right investors, but uh, I kind of focused that it would happen, and then I think it was the easiest time financing I've
Mm,
ever
wow.
had with a film. And I don't know why, other than I just felt, yeah, I can do it. I also decided to do it at a lower budget than it would normally be done. I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to make this film and I'll either make it with very little money
Hmm.
and just make sure that, and I do the special effects kind of the way, if you look at a film called Alphaville by Jean-Luc Godard, it's like science fiction, but he just used this old warehouse and he used the actors and weird things happening to the actors, but he didn't show like Star Wars type events, you know.
It's called Alpha what?
Alphaville. Alphaville.
Alphaville.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna look
great,
that
but it's done on like no money. I mean, he barely had any money and he just made it in a this weird warehouse. And I thought, well, if I end up doing it that way, I end up doing it that way. Let's see if I can get this thing a decent. We did get a decent budget ultimately, but that's how I looked at it. I just wanted to make that film,
I
you know.
love that for you. I love that for us. Because what I have noticed about your work, as loud as opinions are in this digital world,
Hmm.
you pretty much stay true to who you are as an artist. It seems like you are very consistent with your vision. So, how do you do that with the pressures of the industry and audience expectations these days, and entitlement? I'd even
Yeah,
say.
I would say it's very interesting. That's a good question because I think I studied at the Actors Studio, which was really for writing and directing. Well, for writing basically, and I studied under a great director named Elia Kazan. I'm sure you know of him,
Mhm.
um, and Arthur Penn, and these wonderful, like amazing directors and writers. And they always said you really don't want to think about the audience when you're writing and when you interpret what you're doing. You have to really only think if it if you feel you're in the flow and if it's your vision. And if you are thinking about other things, it won't be uh, it will get off on it'll be fragmented and it won't be the vision that you want. So that was a good lesson for me. It's,
Have
I didn't
you
think about it.
have you
Sorry.
felt pressure? Have you felt pressure from others to change your vision before?
Oh sure, absolutely. I had a very difficult time on my first film because I didn't know how difficult it could be in Hollywood type of filmmaking. And I had a Hollywood producer and I had actors out of Hollywood, which were at the time I was very lucky. Actually, it was Crispin Glover, one of the most eccentric, unusual actors, Tatum O'Neal, Rick Mayall. A really brilliant cast. But they were all act. I came from theater, and I was used to a very structured way of working, and I found out it wasn't that way in LA. It was kind of more all sorts of things were going on, and
Any and everything, as
any
a
and
matter of
everything,
fact.
and very unusual personalities all together, and it was very interesting. I went through quite a bit, and then the producer, I won't mention who it was, but there was a producer who was constantly he wanted to direct basically,
Mm.
and so he was constantly bothering me and getting in my ear and saying, doesn't matter what you shoot, I'm going to cut it anyway the way I want. Stuff like that was going on, and I was a young director woman, and he was being very, let's call it uh, I felt it was very sexist the way he was acting with me,
Yeah.
telling me basically. So I kind of thought, okay, I learned a lot in film school. I'll just make it where you can't recut. So I shot it in camera where it would work with my cuts, but it
She was
wouldn't
like,
work.
you want to be a jerk? I'll raise you one.
I'll
Hold
raise
my
you one. I
hold my
basically,
beer.
yeah, that's exactly right. So I did that. We still don't get along, he and I, but he pulled some other things as well, including without my permission doing some cuts at my Sundance premiere. So which made him banned from the final. There was a final uh Sundance thing where at the end everybody comes in. He was banned because I told the heads of Sundance that he had done that, because he did some cuts that he shouldn't have done. So but unfortunately back then I signed a contract because it was my first movie, and I thought, wow, and I signed a contract which pretty much gave him control of the film. So from then on, I decided to produce as well as direct my work so that I would never be in that position again. So, so I produced on every
Mess
film.
with me once. Watch this. Like,
Exactly. I'm like,
that's a good
okay.
lesson though, because it's really hard for
Mm,
people to know when to stand up for themselves, to know.
Mhm.
how to stand up for themselves. Like that is not a lesson that you're taught in Hollywood. That is not a lesson that you're
No,
taught even in film school. That's
no,
not
not at all.
something
I
it's
had
not
no
like a
clue.
conversation. Let me teach you how to stand up for your no, it's like good
No,
luck, go out there,
go
figure
out
it
there
out.
and yeah. And I kind of, I called it director boot camp. It was like anything that could happen did happen. And, and, and yet I'm really proud of the film, and we finished it, and it came out, and it was at Sundance and what is that, some other really nice festivals. So, um, but I had to get the film back. So I fought pretty hard, got my film back, and luckily I was very friendly with the head of film finances, a really nice man, Steve Ransohoff, who helped me a lot. And I got the film back, recut it back into my cut pretty much. And yeah,
Jane,
so
where'd you get the audacity? Because not everyone has that.
I think it was my father. My father was self-made. Uh,
Okay.
he was a self-made Texan. And he was just like, if you fall off that horse, you get right back on. He's that kind of a person. And he was always very supportive. He had 4 daughters. I was one of 4, and we were all pretty strong because he treated us like like guys. I mean, we were just treated like, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
There's no difference between you and a guy. You have to, and that was pretty unusual in that time period. So, I guess
So
my
my
mother,
grandfather was like my dad, and he was
yeah,
in construction. And I've been married 20 something years, but ma'am, the toolbox is mine.
exactly. Yes. That's from your grandfather. You learned that, right?
I have
Well, that's
no
my father of
problem
all.
digging in with a new tool.
No
I
problem.
will go to trade shows, find me some new tools, because if it breaks, I'm gonna fix it. It's getting fixed.
Yeah, exactly. And
Getting
that's kind of
fixed.
how I look at it. I mean, what are we here for? We're here to, as humans, not just artists, but to express ourselves and do what we're supposed to do. And other people, not always, but I'd say in Hollywood, it's quite often get in your way of your path for one reason or another. Not just Hollywood, New York, everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, they get in your path because they either want something from you, or they're jealous, or they're angry, or they want to be the director instead of the producer, or vice versa. It's always something.
Everybody
So
want what
you
they can have.
yeah, they've all got their thing. And once in a while, some really wonderful people, of course, that don't have that going on, who are
Isn't that
just there.
wonderful when you
Yeah,
just run across people that are just
they're
pleasant
just cool. They're
and
just
just
cool.
nice?
They're
And
happy with
their energy feels
themselves.
good. And you're
Yeah.
just like, more of that, please. More of
Yes,
that, please.
please. And I try to work with those kinds of people now. And I think we had a pretty good set on South of Hope Street too. Um, but I think it's, as in all creative work, I think once you get a group of people together, everybody's got their own take on things. And I think to be a director, you really have to fight. Unfortunately, you really have to push through your vision, not by being mean or rude or anything, but just tunnel vision. You just, okay, I know what I want. If someone has a great idea, I'll take it. I'll say thank you. Let's use it, and credit them if it's necessary. But I don't. I part a lot of the time it's been keeping myself on the vision I want to do, and I just kind of ignore it now. I don't even get in arguments anymore. I just go, yeah, yeah, okay. Do you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
stay on my road,
Yeah, it's still
because
my
that's
path.
the only way you're going to get the thing completed, because filmmaking is climbing mountains, really.
Now, I am really big on people understanding how important perspective is, especially when you're storytelling, understanding that everyone's perspective might not be yours, but
Mhm.
you have the opportunity to help them see your vision. What does perspective mean to you when you are writing and producing, I mean, writing and directing?
um you mean how to
How do you use it? How does it play a role in what you're doing, what you're
oh,
producing, what you're putting out to the world?
I think it plays a big role, because obviously I'm trying to reflect something from myself, from my experience. And I'm hoping that there are groups of people who have a similar, who can kind of key into what I'm doing. And often, you have people who simply don't have that perspective. They don't appreciate it, or they have a different way of viewing things and looking at things. And that's always going to happen, especially if you get into filmmaking that's more unusual than the usual kind of narrative storytelling. And you can only hope that people get your perspective of what it is, of I guess I would say, this existence. You can only hope that they can relate to it so that your movie can really make a difference, or enough people will see the movie. And you just don't know. I mean, until you do it, you just don't know. And all you can do is hope that there are a lot of people who kind of feel the same way or think the same way, so that you get more exposure to your film. I think that's what you were asking me. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think it comes down to, at the end of the day, tapping into people's humanity, because we
Yeah.
might not have the same experience. I may have never experienced or even know anybody that's experienced anything similar to what you're showing me, but how do we connect as humans? How do we connect as moral beings that care about
Yeah.
each other, or that have the power to empathize?
I
Um,
That's
that type
super
of thing.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
empathy is super important. Unlike what Elon Musk was saying, that the
The hell
worst
with
thing
it. Like, what's
the
wrong with you
worst thing
people?
is empathy. You know what? I think it's
But
very
there are people
important.
like that. Like, legit,
Like him.
you're someone that's making art and that care about emotions and connection. And then you do have people in this world that are like, for whatever reason, I'll take it back to childhood. I think he's got some childhood trauma he don't want to talk about, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That just don't have a human emotion to even be able to connect with the
To
best
even
artists.
understand, yeah, they don't even understand the idea of seeing things through a different viewpoint, or
Or just
connecting
connecting
to.
with emotion. Like, why are you so afraid of emotion? Like, what? Or will you shrivel up, or what? What will happen? You happen to have an emotional connection to somebody. Like,
No,
what's
there's
wrong
got
with
to be. I think there has to be in film. That's how you can connect people to your film. It may be a very dark emotion. It may be a very
you? Maybe.
beautiful. Maybe you know that powerful film. What was it? God, now I can't think of it. It was that wonderful film about the Holocaust that was done
Hmm.
a year or so ago, or 2 years ago, um, by Jonathan, and I forgot his name. It was very abstract. That's why I can't think of the name of it.
Gotcha.
um, it was kind of an abstract film, and it was an art film. He won Best International Picture. I remember that,
Mm.
um, at the Academy Awards, which is interesting. But what interested me was it was very abstract, and so it wasn't. But the emotion was from more of an intellectual level,
Hmm.
but it still was highly, highly emotional, because these people were living next to. I think you may have seen the movie or heard about it, but they were living next to an extermination camp, and they
Oh,
were.
yeah, 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 yeah. I know a
What
movie.
was it
I
called?
can't
You
remember right now.
Martin Amis wrote it, and now I
Yes,
can't. Anyway, why can't I? It's a great title. Why can I
it
not
is,
think of
and
it?
I just can't remember either.
Yeah, me. What is that? I hate that when it's right on the tip of my tongue. But it was a great, great film where the emotions were really high,
They were
uh,
raw.
but
Hmm.
very much from an absurdist kind of. You saw the
Yeah.
absurdity, and you were just appalled by
It
it.
was palpable. Like, the emotions were just, they were palpable. You could feel it
Very,
came through
very,
the whole thing.
very much. Yeah,
Now,
and you have to have
let,
that, or I don't know.
let me ask you this. If you could sit down with any director, past or present, and have a deep conversation with them about filmmaking, who would it be?
Andrei Tarkovsky.
Okay, and why?
Do you know his work? I don't know.
Hmm.
So he's a, I mean, because he was a big film school,
Got it.
uh, everybody loved his work, or not everybody, but most people. Because, or either Andrei Tarkovsky or Federico Fellini.
Ooh.
Fellini, I loved. Fellini made me want to make films. I mean, I saw La Dolce Vita and of course La Strada and Nights of Cabiria, and they were all such beautiful humanist films, and they were funny and sad and they were like life and
Hmm.
absurd.
Hmm.
And at the end, he always wrapped it up with these great moments that the film would kind of wander, but at the end, he would tie it all up in some amazing ending that was just the look of an eye. Or Anthony Quinn on the beach at the end of La Strada, when he's like this, he feels the universe is so huge and he's so small, and
Yeah.
he's banging at the beach, the sand. Um, you know, like a, it's just incredible what Fellini did. So I would love to talk with him. Also, Tarkovsky was a great filmmaker who also came from a humanist bent, almost religious, but he wasn't like highly. His pieces were so spiritual. Did you ever see Andre's Childhood?
No.
Well, it's about a little boy in World War II who is going through the war, this horrible war, and his mother's been killed. But at night, he has the most beautiful dreams. So that's his childhood. And it's
Mm.
such a beautiful film. The dreams are just uh, they get you really emotionally, and then of course he wakes up and he's back in the war, and the ending is really powerful and hard to watch because it's very sad. So, but what a great filmmaker he was. So I would love to talk with him. And yeah, there's so many filmmakers I admire. I love Martin Scorsese's work,
Mm.
not so much his mobster guy work. I loved The Age of Innocence. The ending of that is beautiful, and he
Yeah.
was a big Fellini fan. I love David Lynch. I loved his work. It just very, and Agnes Varda. Did you see Chloe from 4 to 6? I think it
Mm.
was
Yes. 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 You know what I'm noticing
beautiful.
about you?
What
Let me tell you. Tell me if
that
I'm
my
wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. It don't
sure.
matter how abstract or chaotic something is, you really pay attention to the ending of things, how things
Yes,
wrap up at the
yes.
end.
I
So
think
why
that's what
don't you tell me what your career looks like at the end? What do you want your legacy to be?
legacy.
Legacy.
Yeah. Uh, I'd like to think that that the films I've made um, reflect things that are strongly against uh, conformity,
Hmm.
negative conformity,
Gotcha.
um, war, uh, that are pro kind of an innocence would be the thing. Because I try, my protagonists are usually kind of actually women who are kind of innocent on some level emotionally.
Hmm.
Like they go through terrible things and things, but they still retain their angel. As Jean Cocteau said, to go through life and retain your angel, then
Hmm.
that's what the meaning of life is. To get through all the terrible events, but you retain your angel and your goodness. And that's, I would like to think that that's what is reflected in my films. I hope so. I don't know. So
I love that. I love that. It just you're very consistent. Yeah, I haven't
thank
known you
you.
that long, but your consistency and your even doing the research to have you here is like how she thinks, how she works,
Oh,
um, and it just the ending and how things wrap up just seem to be a common theme in your work and even some of the things that you've said and I think that's important because sometimes we get lost in the moment and we forget how we pull it all together, how we wrap that bow around it is important because it's not
Mhm.
going to be easy in the
Mm-mm.
midst of chaos, but we can still get that hero at the end.
Get that spark of light, get that we're here for a reason. It's
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
just for nothing.
I
And
love that.
I really, well, I personally feel that. And so I think it's always in, I like to think no matter how sometimes dark and abstract, you still have that light, and I think that's what is important.
Well, I definitely want people that have not yet to check out South of Hope Street. Tell the people what you want them to get out of this movie, though. Why should they go and spend time and watch this film?
Um, I would like it if they just are open to thinking about some of the things that are in the film,
Hmm.
or I mean, they don't have to necessarily agree, or I don't have answers. I can only show what what I would do if I were in her situation. You
Yeah.
see her in the middle there. She's a brilliant actress, by the way, Tana Frederick.
Hmm.
And Judd Nelson, I love him, and Billy Baldwin, what a character. And Angelo Baffa, who's a new actor, was amazing. He won an award. And Michael Madsen, and just all of them, Meredith Ostrom. They were really a team working on this. And I guess what I would like to say is that I would like for people to watch it and think about it and agree or not agree. It's very, I would say it's very much about questioning, more than just what you're told
Yeah.
about why you are here, uh, why you exist, really. And that's kind of what the, I guess, philosophical theme of the piece is. Um, and it's kind of fun. I like to think it's fun. The top of the film is more kind of absurdist, kind of dark comedy
Mm.
in a certain way. Yeah.
Give me three words that you would never want affiliated with you.
Affiliated with me,
Yes.
Trump. Don't
Straight out the
affiliate.
gate.
Don't affiliate me with him. Uh, Sorry. Trump. Uh, Bigotry,
Mm.
sexism,
I love it. I love it.
and they all kind of go together. No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
You're hilarious. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I've been reading the news.
Oh, yeah.
you know,
So
he's
so has
he's.
my wallet. But
Oh
okay.
yeah, I've heard that's not going so well, and all his big plans about how to improve the financial aspects of everything. He's deporting 240,000 Ukrainians.
Yep. Saw that.
Ukrainians. What
Saw that.
for? Because he's mad at their leader? I mean, what?
I don't
It's.
know. Today, I'm just happy that my friends from Canada are still my friends. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
stick with the positive. I'm just
Sorry,
gonna.
I don't want to be negative.
I'm gonna look. Listen, I'm always. I had to text my friends, and I was like, "Are we still friends? Like, are we good still? You can still send
Oh,
me
I know.
tea."
I have so many friends in Canada, and I'm like,
Look,
well,
I
I
was like, can you
half of them
send
are
me some
laughing.
tea? Because it's too expensive to buy it now. Like, help a
Yeah,
sister out.
I know. No, I think everything's gonna work out. I hope so. Um, but it's
I think as long as we have good people in the world like you, we're gonna
oh,
be okay. You
and
got
you.
people that make art that give us hope. We have people that make us laugh. We have people that we can share human moments with. And as long as we continue to hold on to moments like that and people like that, I don't care what kind of evil is out there. We will eventually be okay because resilience is a mug. And I'm trying to tell you, as long as we have that and we have those positive moments to hold on to, we can kiki at some of the craziness, but we'll be all right. And if it ain't,
Yeah,
I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you and be like, I need you to make another movie so people can start thinking because it's not connecting. It's not connecting.
something's really, I don't know. I mean, well,
Oh
I
my
mean,
god! So
it's
let
kind
the
of
people know.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. Let the people know what you have coming up, and how they can continue to follow your work and support you.
Well, I'm gonna make as I said, I'm making a film called South of Hope Street. Not South of Hope Street. Sorry, The Red Weather, which is actually it's about tolerance and in Italy and European countries. You know, there's a lot of right wing movements going on right now, far
Mhm.
right wing. I'm not, it's okay if people are conservative. That's not the big thing. It's when they go to the extreme. Um, I guess it becomes very,
Yeah,
difficult. So,
yeah.
but it's also a love story, and it's a very, it's about an Italian family, and I just chose Italy because it's beautiful. So I could shoot there, and then, but the story is I think very powerful, and I'm working on the Eric Satie piece,
Hmm.
which is about artists at the turn of the century in Paris, and it's a love story. And we have Jean-Hugues Anglade, who's a great actor for the lead. He was in Betty Blue and God, he Queen Margot and Killing Zoe, just a bunch of films. He's a great actor,
Right.
and he's going to play one of the characters. And Rosanna Arquette and her daughter Zoe. Zoe will play the younger version of her character of
Mhm.
Suzanne Valadon, and I think we just, and right now we're working with putting together the rest of the cast on both projects. And whichever goes first, I will shoot first. But I will be shooting something this fall. I also have a comedy that's called Please Don't Be Long. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, we get
It's,
to see your comedy muscle flex.
yeah, I want to laugh. Okay. Also, aside from all this, you know, philosophical stuff, it's a fun piece. It's kind of, I don't know. Do you know With Nail and I, the film? It's
No.
it's an older film, but it's one of my favorite comedies out of England, and it's about these two major struggling actors in a room, and it's very funny. And this is kind of a combo of With Nail and I and Dumb and Dumber.
Spelled with nail and I.
With Nail and I, you'll love it. It's with
Okay.
Richard E. Grant, and it's brilliant. It's actually, I read that it's Johnny Depp's favorite film, and that doesn't surprise me because these
Okay.
guys are
Oh,
just
that's
out of
great.
their minds.
I
But
love it.
it's a combo of that and Dumb and Dumber because these guys, they're just complete buffoons. Uh, uh, they're competing poets in a little Irish town, and I think it's hilarious. If I say so myself, um, going around trying to out poet in falafel shops, fighting with other poets. It's ridiculous.
That's
I
hilarious.
love, So
That's
we're working on that with an actor named Jack McAvoy, and it was written by a great writer and actor named Barry O'Rourke, who yeah, he sadly passed away
mm,
last year, but he was working on it with me for a few years, and it's a great piece. He got ill.
mm.
So yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm talking about only depressing things, but that's what
Mm,
happened.
life
Uh,
is life, girl. Life is
life is
life.
life.
And
I
you
know.
still find a way to laugh and smile. That is a testament. I'll take it every day.
Well, Barry was the funniest person I've ever met, and he helped me write this. So a lot of the comedy is from his laughing at everything. So
I
so
love to
that's where
hear
we
that.
are.
Are you actually on social media or nah?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram.
Okay.
I'm not on X, you know why. I'm not, and I'm thinking of getting off Facebook, but I've got so many great friends on
I
Facebook.
know. My family's on Facebook. That's
Yeah,
why we're
my family
there.
too. And
Hmm.
as I'm over, I'm living in Europe. I like to keep in touch
Keep
with
in
my
touch.
friends from LA and New York, where I basically stayed so long. So I've been reaching all my friends through social media.
Yeah.
Almost every day I talk to a lot of cool people. So, it's kind of hard when you think, oh God, this is owned by you know who.
Yes.
But until we
It is
get
what it
better,
is.
it is what it is. But, yes, I'm on social media, and we have a site for South of Hope Street
Okay.
on Instagram as well. And I'm on
Oh, lovely.
Instagram. So I'm
Okay.
all
Well,
over the place.
I will go ahead and put those captions, those handles in the captions, and you guys make sure that you follow her journey. You watch what's coming up next. Please, when you release the next film, come back so we can talk about
Oh,
it some more and
I'd love
stay in
to.
touch. Absolutely stay
Thank
in
you.
touch.
This has been fabulous. Thank you so much. I mean, I really
Thank
like your take on everything. Thank you.
I mean, you're a brilliant mind, and I
Oh.
like helping people recognize that we have smart, funny women out there doing amazing things. So
Like yourself. Like yourself. Thank you very
definitely
much.
appreciate.
Okay.
Absolutely, you guys take it easy and have a great rest of your day. Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. When you get a sec, take a moment, leave a comment. What you think about today's episode, and share it with someone that you know could use the gems that were dropped today. Follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss who's coming up next. You never know who could show up here and what they could say. For your professional needs, marketing, PR, communications, and leadership, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sand and Shores, or hit us up at sandandshores.com. Again, thanks so much for showing up. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.